devices. And one of the characteristics of these devices, they have different screen sizes. So if you don't address this, this diversity or this the diversity of screen sizes, if you don't address it in your design, your user experience will not be a pleasing experience. So I'm sure if some, let's take an example. Let's take an example and go to our web page. QU, all right, QU. This is qu.edu.qa. So this one, have a look at this. This is a normal look and feel of the page when it's maximized. Now let me change the browser size, just like this.
It's not responsive.
Why is it not responsive?
It didn't go smaller.
So it did not resize itself based on the browser size. If I want to see the rest of the page, luckily here I have to scroll. If it's a mobile device, it's even worse. Let's say if I do here inspect and click this little here, this little device here, and let's choose an iPhone 6. You see here, maybe this is too generous. 4. See, it's not very clear. I have to kind of zoom and scroll, like kind of move it to the left and right to be able to see. And the links, I have to zoom them to be capable of the other link. And we all experience this. This is not very good design. Our page is not responsive. Let me show you even more surprising one. Amazon. Okay, Amazon being one of the most famous websites in the world, it's still not responsive. It's even worse than our web page. So let me. Okay. Let me. You see here, the menu has gone. We just. If I expand, I have a menu here and so on. It's all gone when I resize. It's not responsive. Now, if I go to another one, which is Walmart, which is a kind of a competitor of Amazon, you can see here, this is how the web page looks like. And this is you see the shopping cart there? And you see here some menu on the top. Now, if I resize, have a look when I resize. I still get my shopping cart, I still get my menu, and the menu looks now different. It's kind of in here, and I have much better user experience than the previous one. This is a responsive website, and the other one is a non-responsive website. Is clear the idea of responsive? So do you want to build a responsive websites or non-responsive? Responsive websites. And by the way, Qatar University is now working on making their website responsive, and very shortly they will deploy the new version, will be responsive. So, now to do these responsive websites, what do you need to do?
Libraries.
You can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. There's a bit challenging, and the CSS you have to write can get quite complex very quickly. Let me show you just a small taste of how this responsive design looks like, although it's very primitive. The real one will be much more complex than what I will show you now. Here is one element of one way of doing it. Here is a fill width. By the way, if you want to really see a very good responsive websites, these three, you can go to these three, you'll see very nice websites that can resize themselves based on screen size. Very nice. And if you want to see a miserable one that does not responsive, go to the Amazon. And the reason why, not because they are lazy, they have apps on multiple platforms. If you are not happy with the online, go to the app. And this is another way for them to push people to use it.
That's not an excuse. You have to make it.
Yes, you're right. But believe me, that website is so complex to work. So they have, I'm sure they are busy people. It's a low priority at this stage. And people go there if it's not, even if it's not responsive. All right, so now here is one way of doing it. Have a look at this. So what I'm doing here, as you can see, my page is made up of 3 columns. First of all, the concept of designers. When designers come to a web page and they want to design it, one of the first decisions in terms of layout, you have to decide how many columns you want your web page to be. Is it a 2-column web page, 3-column web page? That is a fundamental decision. Have a look at this. Even our non-responsive website, QU. Here is Q. Even our non-responsive website, you can see, is divided into columns. Of course, rows and columns, of course. The first row is the logo and the menu. Second row is the banner here with some kind of key advertising that they want you to be aware of. And the body of the page, you can see, has 3 columns. And this row is again divided in other 3 columns. So this concept of column-based layout design is very fundamental in design. So in here, you can see I am also dividing my page into 3 columns. I have a side that I put on the left, a side that I put on the right, and there is a middle section. Okay? Now, here is how I make it. This is a baby steps toward responsive. There's much more to it, as I said. So what I am saying here, I am saying, okay, I want to create a class called left. That aside will be floated to the left. And how much space will it occupy?
12%.
12%. So the size, I put the width as a relative value rather than absolute value. I didn't say make it 200 pixels or make it 300 pixels. I said work it out, work out the physical space or the physical width based on the screen size. Occupy 12%. Now the right side, the one on the right, I want to take that whenever you see a side with the class right, float it to the right. Put it on the right side. And how much space should you give it? What is the width? 20%. You get the idea? And now the section, the core of the page, I want it to be 60%. So when I render this page, you can see nicely it gives you, this is 12%, my 60 and my 20. And the rest is spacing and margins between them. But have a look when I resize. Still nicely resized. But still not perfect. Have a look. Still a bit not perfect. You see? This one starting to go inside the other one. There is more to it. What I can, really, the responsive design, what it does is, it says, if the screen size is this, do this layout. If the screen size is this, do this layout. So it queries the browser and saying, depending on the size, do different layouts. So a smarter way could be, if the screen size becomes bigger, it becomes smaller, put this one on top.
Or maybe smaller size of the font. Or
smaller size of the font, or maybe get rid of these bullets.
Yeah.
Okay. So CSS has this concept of media queries. Media query means I ask the browser, give me the actual size, and based on that, I do different styling. Okay? But you can see here, the styling becomes more and more complex. So if you don't have time like me or like you, you will become busy. I'm sure you are already feeling the heat of this course. So what you can do, and plus we are in the beginning stages, you can rely on frameworks that other people, professional people, have built and made open source. And you don't need to feel embarrassed, that's what professionals do. Many professionals, they don't write everything from scratch. In fact, they use what other people have created, and then they basically move forward. Why repeat what already exists in a nice framework that already exists? So there are many frameworks out there that can help us do this responsive design. Not only this responsive design, it comes with some built-in CSS classes that we can just apply to our page and make it look professional without too much work from our side. Okay? Now, such frameworks, there are many of them, but the most famous one is called Bootstrap. So it's a CSS framework. When I say CSS, it's a couple of named classes, named CSS classes that, in this case, the Twitter people have built this. Some generous designers in Twitter, they spent time building this framework and they made it open source and then became very, very popular. Now, of course, Google always wants to show off its muscles, and actually they came up with another framework called Material Design Lite. This I really recommend you to look at it. We will not look at it in this course. You do self-study if you want, but similar concepts. Now, material design, at certain stage, it will become very, very important, but it's still slowly. So the idea of this material design, the Google people, they are very smart designers dedicated to design, and they came up with some design principles. And they call this design principle material design. And these principles has been applied to Android Lollipop, I think version 5. It has very fancy look and feel. So what they did is they took those design principles and tried to apply them back to the web. So they created some CSS classes to help us do that. All right? And they call it Material Design Lite. We will only see this, but similar concepts can be done here. And the idea is just you get familiar with the idea, and then you see the examples, and basically you say, oh, I like this, the way this page looks, or this table looks. You just learn what class they have applied to that table to make it look nice. Take the class and apply it to your table. It will look the same as the one example you saw. Okay? Before I go into this responsive design, let me just show you what I mean by these classes, by these fancy classes built in Bootstrap. Let me show you a table. So first of all, if you want to use Bootstrap, there are two ways. You can download it from their website locally and then add it to your page. That's one way of doing it. The other way, you just reference the ones that is already online. This is what I'm doing here. So these are the CSS that these Bootstrap people have wrote. And this is the latest version, 3.3.6. So you can see it's very mature, has been many years around. No, this is the idea. No, nobody memorized anything of this. So here is how professionals do it. So what they do is, of course, they don't even memorize they do Bootstrap CSS. Okay, the first link that comes, you see here, first of all, it's very unpopular. 19 million hits. So it's very, very popular framework. All right, here it is. So you just go to the documentation. And here, this is what you can do with Bootstrap. I want to make my table look very, very fancy. All I do, go to table, and it tells you, if you add this class table, your table will look like this, with zero effort, with zero CSS that you write yourself. Now, if you want the striped one that you spent a couple of, maybe an hour or so doing, all you do, which class you should apply? Table stripped. All you do, okay, I like this one. You see striped? It's not clear on the project. This one has a slightly different background than this. So all you do, take this class, copy it, go to your page where you want to apply it. Let's say I want to hover over and I want it to be striped. Hover over is another style. See here? This is bordered style. If you want to put borders, you just put table bordered. H over, you see here? It's not clear on the projector, but yeah, it changes the background. So all you do, you copy this and you apply it to your table. When you run your page, you will see that your page will be striped and it will have, when you hover over a row, the background changes. So there's no magic. You already know the concept of a CSS class. The only thing, you didn't write this class yourself. You didn't write this name style yourself. They already wrote it. You just need to be familiar with it through their documentation. You don't need to memorize or think about it. Copy the class that you want and paste it into the element you want. And that's it.
But the linking is through like the main page or to each class, the like HTTPs we're putting for both classes, the two URLs
Yeah.
are for both classes.
Which classes are you talking?
That we're applying the table
Okay.
for it.
All these classes and much more are defined in this file. Have a look at this. It is minimized. Minimized means they have taken the spaces and so on to make it small. So when it comes down, when it's downloaded, it's very small. So if you are interested, you can go here, go to that file. It's a bit scary now. These are the CSS stuff that they wrote. If we look here, hover, let's say table dot hover.
We cannot change them, no?
Okay, here is, sorry. This is the minimized one. Minimized means it's the browsers, they don't need spaces. Okay? Us, we need spaces, otherwise it's too scary. So minimize, you can get the full version with dot minimization. Just get rid of dot min. This is a little bit more readable. And you can see here, table, H over. This is how they have done it. Okay? Now,
Can I change the color?
yeah, here is the idea. The idea is, let me show you. Let me give you this very, very important. Let me show you this and I explain what I... There are two things. There is the style and there is a theme. A theme, you can have different themes, different color schemes. There are some open source ones and there are some commercial ones you can buy. You can buy a theme and apply it. Now, if you want to change anything, the advice is you never touch, when you use somebody else's library or framework, don't change it. What you do is, why you should not change it?
It's not yours.
No, it is yours. You can change it. Just what I mean, you just say this is, you keep the acknowledgement and you say it's adapted. You are allowed to change it. But why you should not change
You
it?
might not understand what it's
No,
really
not
doing.
really. You can understand. It's CSS. If you know basic CSS, you will understand.
Guarantee what would happen.
No, not really.
The themes depend on it.
It won't
Sorry?
be
The themes are depend on the changes that we do.
Slightly, yeah.
Because
But more important. Yes.
the linking, because it would be different, so you will generate another one.
It's an open
So you
source.
change it.
No, it's open source means you can change. No, sorry, just because of the time. So basically, what the idea here is, if you don't change it, you can move easily to next version. Remember, these things change every 3. We are in version 3.3.6. By the way, there is version 4 will come very soon. So here, Bootstrap 4. Here is V4 Alpha. So these people are not, okay, looks nice, let's close the door and go to sleep. They keep improving. So if you change, you are stuck with that version. Otherwise, you have to download the latest one and then redo your changes. Instead, what you can do, you can create new styles and apply your own styles. So you have mix and match. You use their style and your styles. And remember, CSS is cascading, and you can basically
Inherit and
yes, you can add more styles and apply it. So you have both theirs and yours, and you can apply the one you wish. So this way you can move easily to the next version. So and there are extension points also. So this is more advanced. Don't worry too much about it. My advice: anything you use as a framework, don't change it. but add to it outside of it. So don't change the files, add to it. Have your own style and import. Here it is. So import their style, and there is nothing wrong. Import your own. Whenever you wish, apply theirs. If you don't like something, apply yours. And you can copy theirs to yours and then change it. But change it in your style, not in the original. Is clear the idea? Now, if you want some fancy changes of your images, here is an example.
So we need to link both the minimized and the theme, like the framework
Yes.
and the theme.
Yes. Yes, you link both. And the theme, there are many themes. If you go to get to the Bootstrap page, you will see many themes. Some of them are free, some of them are open source and free, some of them are commercial. Very small money, $5 or
So
so.
what is the benefit for the
Sorry?
version for V4? What's the benefit if they make it look like that and use it big?
Sorry, what do you mean?
It's free open source.
Yes.
And they are making changes to be look nicer.
Okay.
What's the benefit for them?
Okay, the benefits for them. Okay, very good question. The benefits for them. By the way, these frameworks are not some little boy, they have nothing to do, they're on holidays, and they think, let us put some nice framework to make it easy for 3, 5, 6
They're working
CPS,
with
3, 5, 6
organizations.
students. These are professional developers. Okay? And then basically, okay, here it is. We worked on same frameworks internally, and then we contributed back to the community. And then what people will, when they use it, they say, oh, I will add for you this new feature, and I will suggest it for you to adopt it. So people will give you back.
Yes.
They really apply زرعوا فأكلنا ونزرع فأكل. They really, this is what open source is all about. So you give them and they will give you back. That's the idea. And the people that will give you back are also professionals. So you can see the framework keep moving forward. And that's the idea. And plus, that company or that gets credit. And those professionals behind them, they get recognized as kind of experts in that field. And they might get employed or hired by the top company with the top salaries and so on. That's another way of making yourself famous. By
But
open
it's
source.
not like open source by all meaning. I believe they're having some financial
Open source. Like for example, this one.
Yeah, really?
This one, Google people pays the people who want this
Yes.
image.
And the
And it
others.
is open source. 100% open source. And they really encourage you to use it. They even pay to advertise it. Okay? It's part of the brand. It's a very good
عشان هيك
part of the brand.
يعني someone paid them and somehow
Yes,
It's
but
but
the contributors could be you, could be anyone.
yeah.
Okay. And by the way, GitHub. Remember that GitHub I explained? One features we didn't see. You can go to any open source project and send them your contributions. And they can either accept it or reject it, or give you feedback. Please improve it, and then we will adopt it. And you will be recognized as one of the contributors. So it's a whole, of course, there is not, they benefit, but not financially from other. They benefit otherwise. Okay, so now, you see this fancy image, I put it on the right side, and I made this as over. Okay, so here is the original, how it should look like, originally. Let me just remove this. Go back. This is how it looked like originally. This is the image. Now I can do that, of course. I can write my own CSS to float it right and to put that over it. But why should I do that if Bootstrap already did it? So to learn about this, of course you don't memorize any of these. Just, as I said, go through the examples, see the effects and the look and feel you like, take the class, copy the class, paste it in your elements. And that's it. That's how you do it. Is clear the idea? And exactly the same here. Just go to NDL material design light. Material design. If I have chance, material design light. I have not played with it myself. All right, it's MDL. Here it is, the first one. It's quite popular as well. Look at how many hits you have there. It's similar, very similar concept. You go through the documentation, the examples, and here is the get started. Let me see if I can see some styles. There are some styles. I have to play with it. So showcase. Let me do showcase. Okay. It's not as getting started. Oh, let me see components. Here it is. So if you want to have something like, you see these badges? You see them on the mobile interface? Here is this badge, very fancy badge. Here's how you do it. These are material design classes. You have a look at the example, and then you copy this, put it in your page, and customize it to what you want to do. You get the idea? So here are dialogues. And they will give you examples.
Does they have the library or the link?
Yes. Same concept. You can either download it and add it to your page or reference the online version. Okay? That is the idea. So here, no memorization, you just understand the concept. These are classes, nothing else. But written by professionals. It took many days and months to write. You just use it.
And doctor, from where we get the link? That link that you should book.
Okay, you go to get started. Okay, include the master CSS and JavaScript. Here is the link.
Okay.
That's it. Include this and start using. If you don't like linking to them, you want to download it locally, download it. It's version 1.1.1, so it's moving forward. Okay, now to do it and come to components or come to this page and try to understand how it is done. Okay, toggle. There are many things here. I have not played with it much.
The tag, the ID, it's not divided for the column, right?
No, it's a div.
Div, right?
Yes, it's a normal HTML. Remember HTML elements, one of the early elements we see.
Yes, that like you apply some characteristic to some components you want, right?
Yes. No, basically it is an HTML element. Sorry? Yes, a div is a way to group elements. So in here there is no, so these people have done it and they give you the documentation to use it. There is no other way to know how to use it. You have to see the documentation, see the examples and apply what the documentation tells you. There is nothing conceptual or kind of...
Predicted or...
something that you kind of need to predict or memorize. You follow the documentation. Is clear?
Yes.
Now the last thing I want to show you, so beside this fancy user interface look and feel that this framework gives you, more importantly, they give you this responsive design. Now, let me go back to the responsive design concept. Remember what is the responsive design? Page resize based on the screen size. Yes, okay, very good. Now, the way both frameworks and most of the frameworks, the way they do it is that they give you what is known as a grid system. So a grid is like your page is divided into rows and columns. It's like a table. So in terms of rows, it's unlimited. Because remember, the rows, if the page is long, you just keep scrolling to see the rest. Now what is the grid is all about is about the columns. So what Bootstrap and I think even the MDL, they divide the screen into 12 columns. And then you, when you design your page, you decide, let's say you have 3-column page. You say, okay, the first part I want to give it 2 columns. The rightmost aside I want to give it 2 columns. So 2 plus 2, that's 4. How many columns left?
8.
8. And the 8 will be the core of the page. You get the idea? So you divide your page into columns. And these are 12. And you decide how many each part of your page will occupy, how many columns it will occupy. Okay. So that's how you do it. And you follow the documentation. For you to make use of the grid system, you have to put all the content of your page into a div and give that div a class called container. Then your page is made up of rows. Each row, put it in a div and give it a class called row. Now, from where I get this row and container classes?
It's there.
Do I dream about them?
No.
In the documentation. I go through the documentation. If you forget, just put Bootstrap. You see, all of them have the concept of a grid. Can you see here something called grid? Layout, yes. Maybe in here you will see the documentation. But in Bootstrap CSS grid. Bootstrap, and here is the grid. Here is the grid. Can you see something? Grid system. And they will explain and blah, 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 and then they will give you some examples. Okay? So that's how you do it. All right, so in here what I'm doing, I'm creating the first row will have 2 columns. One will have the third of the page, and the other one will have 2/3. Third means 12 divided by 3 gives you 4. And the other one will occupy 2/5. I have another row here. One will occupy 10 and the other one 2. And so on. This one 50-50, 6-6. Now within a column you can further divide it into multiple columns. So in here I have a row that has 2 columns. And the first column will be further divided into 7 and 5, into other 2 columns. Is clear the idea of a grid? Very simple system. Now let me show you this. Here it is nicely divided, the way I asked it to divide it. It doesn't put these borders, I put them myself. Now the good thing, resize, and you can see it auto-resize. Okay? That is the idea. This is the basic, you can further customize it. It's clear what Bootstrap gives you, what this MDL gives you. So it gives you basically 3 major things. 1 is a grid system to have a responsive design. 2, built-in CSS classes to apply to your HTML elements and make them look fancy and professional. And 3, it can give you some components, visual components with some JavaScript. We will not cover here, maybe later if we have the chance. But for now, just keep in mind these 2. A grid system to give you a responsive design, and a pre-written CSS classes to make your page look professional effortlessly, without much effort. To learn this, understand or be aware it exists, go to Mr. Google and put Bootstrap CSS, go through the documentation, anything you like, pick it, apply it, and that's it.
There is something I didn't mention from the level today.
Yeah.
الميديم والاشياء كما حطت الديجن نفسها.
Okay.
انه ما فهمتش يعني كيف انه هي راح تكون لهذا السايز للسكرين. كيف بتصير؟
Okay. Those, even myself, I didn't play with them too much, but my understanding is this. Okay, MD here is a middle size screen, a mid-size screen. Now, in the documentation, it tells you what is MD. Have a look at this documentation. It tells you what is an MD, what is so this is a medium-sized screen. A medium-sized devices is where the width is greater than or equal 992 and less than 1200. A large device is a device where the width is greater than 1200. Maybe this is a TV screen. A small one, a small is less than 768. So they already categorize the common displays and put them into small, extra small, the same as you kind of when you go and buy clothes. You don't go and measure like exact measurements, but kind of a rough measurement. Extra small, small, large, extra large, double X, 2X, 3X, and so on. So for them, they just put 4. Extra small, small, medium, and large. Okay, now, what I'm doing here, this is not very complete. I say here MD stands for middle size. If it is a middle screen, I want to divide it into 6, 6. If it is small, I can add here, say call dot small. If it is small, I want to maybe put it, let's say 3. You have to think about this. What is the remaining out of 3? 9, isn't it? Yeah. Say if it's medium, it will be 50-50. If it's small, it will be 3 and 9. You get the idea? So the browser will work it out at runtime. If it's middle, it will have different layouts based on the screen size. Very, very powerful.
I think that you said they give you the Gradle system. You mean even we can download some written HTML for this kind of division?
No. What they give you is, I said, the classes. These classes. These are classes.
Okay.
And you apply them. Have a look at the documentation. Play with some examples. Once you get the understanding, apply it.
So there's no kind of forums or ready templates or.
No, some people might try to give you through examples, example Bootstrap-based websites, or kind of templates to help you get started if you wish. But those are not, for my opinion, they are not, I don't recommend them because sometimes they put a lot of stuff that you don't need. It becomes too cumbersome. It's better to have handcrafted clean HTML that you do yourself. You keep it simple, and then you basically apply the styles that comes out of the box from the framework. Or if you wish, you could take a template. Usually a template comes with HTML, CSS, and everything. But it comes with a lot of stuff that you might not need.
So I mean, they give us the container, the row, and the column things.
They give us
for the Gradle.
No, basically they give us a CSS file.
Yeah, it's stated. I mean, like not the CSS, the part of HTML.
No, they don't give us any HTML.
No.
But this is our HTML. They only give us CSS.
Yeah.
And here is the proof. We only imported their CSS, nothing else. This is our own HTML. Now, how I divide this, of course, it's pen and paper first. Sit down, think about it, how you want to divide the page, how you want it to look based on different screen sizes. And of course, you might be wondering, of course, people have done this before. Have a look at some best practices. And those best practices might give you some guidance, further guidance.
So it's .html. Why it's not the CSS?
No, this is our page. But their file that they give us is .css. The .html is our page.
Yes.
So we built our page, but to give it a responsive design and to give it that professional look and feel, I don't want to handcraft and write the CSS myself. I just want to rely on this professionally developed, widely used frameworks for me to speed up my development. I go from baby to professional in no time. This is the idea.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay. All right, that's it for CSS. I assume it's fully clear. If it's not, play with it in the lab further. Play with the examples. Put questions on Piazza. Piazza is complaining to me. Nobody's using it. Put questions there. Come to office hours.